Hello everyone. Welcome to our channel. Will artificial intelligence end our privacy? How do we avoid an Orwellian future? This is our topic for this video. During medieval England, life was not private at all. Most people could not afford to live in houses with separate bedrooms, and they had little privacy. People shared bedrooms to sleep at night and closets to hang the few pairs of clothing they had. Our conception of privacy has changed greatly over the years. When the Industrial Revolution emerged, the standard of living rose for many, which made privacy more possible. People could afford separate bedrooms and closets. Urbanization made it possible for a few lucky ones to even afford their own homes that gave them more privacy. So privacy may actually be an anomaly, and it is something which has emerged out of the urban boom due to the Industrial Revolution. But privacy is more than having your own home or bedroom. It is also about having the privacy to discuss your views and ideas, political opinions, desire for change, and many other issues and thoughts in private, thoughts that are considered dangerous by dictators and demagogues. Privacy is also the ability to vote anonymously, to practice the religion of our choosing, to live the lifestyle we wish, and many other privileges that we have grown to expect. A vital question then is, how do we stop AI from taking away many of these privacies, much as George Orwell predicted in his novel 1984? In our world today, data is being collected, or you can say mined, by a handful of very rich and resourceful companies. There is Google, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Amazon in the Western world. And in the East, there is WeChat, Sina Weibo, TikTok, Tencent Video, and Baidu Tieba collecting consumer data. These are the new mine owners. Just like oil was a natural resource powering the last industrial revolution, data is the natural resource for the fast-emerging artificial intelligence-dominated era. Data is the new oil. It is the most valuable asset and the core fuel to run not just the geopolitical and socio-economic order, but also entire economic models in virtually all industries. AI will increasingly be the major consumer of that data because data is what AI needs to keep growing. Deep learning AI models require billions of examples with trillions of parameters for training them to remain competitive. If data is the new oil, deep learning is the refinery. The analogy between data and oil is a good one, but there are some fundamental differences between data and oil. Oil is a precious and limited resource. Data is subjectively precious, but certainly not very scarce as its production is growing exponentially. For example, as of 2024, estimates suggest that humans were generating hundreds of exabytes, or 1 billion gigabytes of data daily. This includes everything from social media posts and emails to scientific data and video streaming content. The growth rate of data creation has been increasing exponentially. Some projections suggested that global data creation could reach staggering zettabytes or 1,000 exabytes per day in the next couple of years. Moreover, oil can only be used once. The mountains of data, however, can be reused unlimited number of times. And with the concept of synthetic data, or data that AI generates out of thin air, new data is now being generated at an unimaginable rate. But perhaps the biggest difference between oil and data is in ownership. Countries quickly claimed ownership of the oil beneath their territory and under the oceans within their boundaries. But data collected by these large companies is not owned by states and nations and hence has no sovereign status. All of this data is privately owned by a few private data monopolies like Google, Facebook, and others mentioned. And while they are generating wealth from it, we the producers of that data are receiving little of the value. In addition, all this data is putting our privacy under increasing threat. Surveillance is somewhat the business model of the internet, almost as if we have a parallel stalker economy. There are very few boundaries on the data that technology companies are collecting. Why did Google think it should track your Android phone when you turned off your location and even removed your SIM card? Or Uber think it should track your location 5 minutes after your ride was over? Or Pokemon Go think it should have access to your entire Google account on iOS, including your email and browsing history? George Orwell would likely have been surprised that while in third world nations run by dictators and oligarchs, governments were putting surveillance devices into people's homes. But in the West, it wasn't the governments, but consumers themselves who were willingly paying money to tech companies to do that. Of course, it's not just tech companies that are starting to invade our privacy. Surveillance and lack of anonymity is fast becoming the new norm worldwide. Connected cameras, microphones, and sensors enable pervasive monitoring of people's activities and behaviors. widespread cameras and facial recognition can track individuals across cities, eroding privacy in public spaces. Facial recognition and other biometric technologies make it increasingly difficult to remain anonymous in public spaces. In the U.S., individual states are also adopting new technologies to pry into our lives. The U.S. state of Delaware, for example, has installed smart cameras into police cruisers to detect vehicles carrying fugitives, abducted children, or missing seniors. Such uses designed for citizen safety might be unproblematic for now, but what happens when a state starts using the same technology to track political activists or refugees? About 60% of the world's surveillance cameras are deployed in China. While it's a scary thought, it actually is a golden opportunity for companies seeking massive amounts of video data for training their multimodal AI models. The type of AI algorithms that China is creating are heavily slanted towards whatever would be good for surveillance. In other words, what's good at predicting people's behavior and potentially curbing it before it gets out of hand. They would like to be able to predict the whereabouts, thoughts, and behaviors of citizens, and AI is fundamentally a technology for prediction. In Zhengzhou, China, police have used face recognition glasses. These glasses can process 100,000 faces every second. You can't hide in a crowd of demonstrators when such technology is being used. With over 600 million CCTV cameras, China has an average of about 439 cameras per 1,000 people. In other words, for every 2 people there is 1 camera somewhere on a street in China. That is at least 5 times higher than other countries around the world. That gives you an idea of the scale of data that China has access to. They are observing every citizen all the time and applying facial recognition, gait tracking, gait recognition, and all kinds of other algorithms, and China is willing to partner with private companies and provide that data to them in order to enhance their AI model training. China, of course, is also collecting a lot of other data from the Great Firewall. China's AI-powered surveillance is actually very attractive to many other countries around the world like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and several others. Some may argue that the battle for our digital privacy is already lost. We have already irrevocably given up too much of our private information to the tech giants, and we will shortly give up our analog privacy, meaning our non-digital privacy too. We are connecting ourselves to smartwatches, fitness monitors, and other devices that monitor our analog selves, our geographical location, our heartbeat, our blood pressure, and soon many other vital signs. AI systems and Internet of Things, or IoT, devices constantly gather vast amounts of personal data, often without users' full awareness or consent. Companies often collect more data than necessary for their services, creating vast databases that can be exploited. This data collection and aggregation is helping in producing better drugs and medical equipment, but this is also enriching these companies without any compensation to the producer of the data. This is not to say that there are no benefits of such connectivity. There are numerous benefits. For example, the Deep Heart machine learning application for the Apple Watch can detect atrial fibrillation, hypertension, and sleep apnea. And it can even use your heartbeat to predict the onset of diabetes with a remarkable 85% accuracy. This is all part of the promise that artificial intelligence can make us healthier. But there are also many risks. What if your health fund increases your premiums every week you skip the gym? Or your employer fines you for working too slowly? Or an advertiser shows you commercials to make your heart beat faster? The proliferation of AI and connected devices poses several significant risks to privacy. With our digital presence, we can lie. We can pretend to be someone that we are not. We can connect to others anonymously. But it is much harder to lie about your real physical or analog self. We have very little direct control of how fast our heart beats or our pupils dilate. Imagine what a political party could do with access to everyone's heartbeat. And we are giving this analog data away to private companies, further compromising our personal privacy. Another example of privacy breach is when you send your saliva to Ancestry DNA, a genetic testing service. When you do that, you also have to sign an agreement that you grant them a royalty-free, worldwide, transferable license to host, transfer, process, analyze, distribute, and communicate your genetic information for the purposes of providing you products and services, conducting Ancestry's research and product development. And if Ancestry DNA happens to use your DNA to develop a cure for a rare genetic disease that you possess, you will probably have to pay for that cure. The Ancestry DNA terms and conditions make it clear that you have no rights in any research or commercial products that may be developed by Ancestry using your genetic information. Originally, Ancestry DNA claimed a perpetual royalty-free license. Once they had your data, there was no way for you to get it back. But thanks to some regulation, at least now, you can ask for them to delete your data and not use it anymore. Analog data is not protected by any patient/doctor or patient privacy legislation. A company like Fitbit or Ancestry DNA can do pretty much what they like with it. Both Fitbit and Ancestry DNA can determine that you are at risk of heart disease, Alzheimer's, or whatever and sell your details to drug companies. Information from multiple sources and on other family members can be combined to create detailed profiles of individuals, revealing more than they intended to share. And once the drug companies have your data, they will hound you online for the rest of your life on any platform that will dare to use. One major concern that has emerged since the introduction of large language models, or LLMs, is algorithmic profiling and discrimination. This has become a serious issue for AI adoption by companies and consumers because AI can analyze data to make inferences about individuals, potentially leading to discrimination or manipulation. AI systems can perpetuate biases and make unfair decisions affecting health insurance, employment, credit, or criminal justice. Mitigation efforts against this risk is an ongoing discussion but requires algorithmic transparency and audits for fairness, something that closed-source large language models are somewhat reluctant to comply with as yet. So far, only open-source LLMs expose their inner workings, weights, and biases, but the major players like Google and OpenAI keep those hidden, and that has raised eyebrows. AI is still a territory like the Wild West. Regulations against discriminatory AI practices and ethical and safe use have not been fully defined and are work in progress. So, what do we do about AI and its potential misuse that can further breach our privacy? And how do we put sufficient guardrails that will protect us from totalitarian statehood? First, let's look at the risks from AI being used for digital theft. We can develop strategies similar to what we've applied in the past from risks and defenses against computer viruses, malware, ransomware, and other types of systems, networks, and computer hacking defenses. Initially, the hackers had an upper hand because they were sophisticated and more experienced. But it did not take long for sophisticated antivirus, network firewalls, and intrusion detection solutions to appear. So as much as we fear artificial intelligence with its power to digest data and cause privacy breaches and cyber attacks on systems, we can use the powerful AI itself to serve as a defense against such risks and attacks. Sophisticated and powerful defensive AI algorithms can be developed to create a defense perimeter around individual identities. One of the surest ways to hold on to our privacy is not to have our data leave our possession, and for this, we will soon have enough computing power on our devices. There are a number of ways in which AI can help preserve privacy when we have more computing power on our local machines. We can have AI administer our computers and devices, and most of the computations can happen on our local devices. The AI algorithms can be our watchguard to prevent private data leakages and theft. Soon our smartphones will have sufficient power and will be powerful enough to recognize our speech, understand our requests, and act upon them without calling upon Google or any other services in the cloud. Our health monitor won't have to share our vital statistics with Fitbit or anyone else. It will track our heartbeat and identify problems and alert us when we need to see a doctor. We can perform our own DNA analysis right here on our computer without relying on any outside service. We will also soon have advanced AI privacy agents with various capabilities running on all our devices and coordinating security on these devices and report to the master AI administrator. Their sole job will be to protect our privacy and defend our security. They will monitor all incoming and outgoing data on all our devices and intervene whenever our privacy or security is threatened. In the future, other technologies will also contribute to safeguarding our privacy. For example, quantum cryptography will be commonplace, giving even greater security to our data. And technologies like differential privacy will be mature, letting us share data with others in society for the public good, but without giving up our own privacy. Finally, if we encourage development and use of open source and decentralized AI algorithms and compensate those building the technology fairly, we can hope for more inclusive and private outcomes that reflect and respect our different cultural values more accurately. But there still remains one big challenge, and that has to do with governments, corporations, and oligarchs. How do we prevent control and misuse of AI in future advanced and extremely powerful generations of this technology like artificial general intelligence, or AGI, and ultimately artificial superintelligence, or ASI, from falling into the hands of one single government, organization, or a group of oligarchs. Without delving deeply into the immense capabilities of AGI, we can just imagine powerful AGIs having unlimited computing resources and able to do almost anything that humans can do but 100 times better. They will be able to replicate their powers with no effort and execute anything their master desires. They could, for example, disrupt the global financial system, trigger riots and unrest, overthrow sovereign governments, usurp strategic resources, contaminate water, destroy crops, create and spread pandemics, manage swarms of armed drones and armies of trained robots for invasions, disrupt power grids, and do all sorts of other nasty acts. Unfortunately, today we do not have a concrete answer to this potential threat. What is of concern is that discussions on this topic are limited to narrow circles of alarmists, all of them mostly in the Western world. Some Western governments and one or two other nations, for instance Japan, are chalking out national strategies for ethical use and transparency of AI model algorithms, weights, and biases to encourage adoption of AI for commercial and business use. However, as with the nuclear arms race, no nation wants to be left behind in the AGI supremacy race. This means that transparency of AI systems will remain a cat-and-mouse game. Furthermore, in the commercial sector, Wall Street and profits will drive the progress towards AGI. No corporation wants to be left behind and go out of business. So the idea that transparency of AI systems used for commercial purposes will expose the complexity of AI algorithms seems very useful. However, it does not solve the larger problem of nation-states like the USA, China, Russia, Israel, etc., seeking AGI superiority or corporations seeking market share and profits from being the first to achieve AGI. The potential mitigation strategies directed towards users' privacy have some merit, but there are no practical and enforceable solutions on the horizon to prevent the AGI superiority race already underway. Fortunately, we can do a lot of things. We can take a lot of steps to make AGI work for us and raise the quality of life for the entire human species. Below are the top 6 immediate steps we can take. A. Increase global awareness of the risks of AGI control by a few powerful groups. B. Improve digital literacy education worldwide, especially in third-world countries that are at risk of being colonized and enslaved forever by dictators and oligarchs. C. Require mandatory disclosure and sharing of AI R&D activities and research. All nations, organizations, and corporations must sign an international binding agreement to this effect, although it is extremely doubtful that any such agreement can be enforced. There are many reasons for this, but that is a topic for another video. D. Encourage development of a decentralized AGI that can potentially offset the power of a closed-source and centrally controlled AGI. E. Embark on a serious global effort to bring all of humanity together by emphasis on knowledge and practice of spirituality to change the mindset of present and future generations, with the ultimate goal of saving humanity from self-destruction. F. Create a global AGI governance organization operating on a blockchain comprised of humanists, ethicists, and scientists from all over the world to guide the necessary AGI ethics and control programming from the onset. The program can be called Benevolent AGI DNA and will serve as a foundation to build future intelligence. Each member on the governance body will be assigned a reputation token to track their performance and reputation. If we make the right choices today, our privacy will not be a historical anomaly. AGI will be our friend, and benefiting from advanced artificial intelligence will be our earned technological given right and not a tool in the hands of dictators and demagogues. We hope you received valuable information from this video. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned to our channel for more content on this and similar topics.